So, what's the best way to refer to a trans person's past? If you're telling a story about someone, how should you refer to them? Should you use their chosen name and pronouns, or use what they went by at that time? Hey guys, Chandler here, back on my channel, Alternate Journey, and those are questions that I get a lot, and it is a really important thing to talk about, so that's what I'm going to be discussing. It's never okay to out a trans individual, or to assume that everyone knows that that person is trans. That is why, no matter what, in any scenario, even in past stories before they came out to you as trans, you should always be using their chosen name and correct pronouns. If you do not, you are essentially outing that individual, especially if not everyone knows within the room that that person is trans. Also, it'll most likely create a confusing situation, especially if that person did their full transition that helps with their dysphoria. So for me personally, like, if I was in a room and stuff like that, and you were talking about a story in my past, and you see her, a lot of individuals would be confused. Because yes, I am out on social media, especially with YouTube, obviously, because I use it to track my transition and to help individuals educate themselves within the trans community. That's like the only part that I am out with and everything like that. Yes, my family knows I'm trans and like certain friends and stuff, but everyone else, I am completely stealth. So depending on who's in the room, you would definitely confuse them and you would out me to them as being trans. Just because I am trans and anybody being trans and non-binary, that does not mean that you have to say that. A lot of people want to be stealth and everything like that because they don't want to be reminded like, oh, you had to go through all of that and stuff like that. And also you're just adding on more dysphoria to that individual because you're reminding them of that past of when they were not truly themselves. They were confused with stuff because they didn't have the knowledge and terminology that they do have now in order to express who they truly are. They want to be stealth and not out to everybody because they don't want to be talking about trans stuff all the time. I personally only talk about trans stuff for my YouTube channel. That's it. Out in normal life, I don't really talk about trans things because it is not revolving around my entire life. Yes, it is in a sense medically right now because I'm trying to get top surgery and stuff like that. But later down the road, it won't even be like existence in my life. Yes, I will always be trans, but it's not like the backbone of who I am as a person. And that's same with everybody. And also, it is maybe not safe for an individual to be out as trans. That's why a lot of people also choose to be stealth as well. So you out an individual, even though yes, you didn't mean to, and telling past stories, that could put them in a dangerous situation because not everyone is going to be accepting of trans individuals. Just because you are and you have certain friends, you shouldn't always assume that your friends are accepting as well, unfortunately. Also, there is just no reason for people to know that a certain individual is trans. It is up to that trans individual themselves whether or not they feel it's necessary for an individual to know that they're trans. I have many friends that don't know that I'm trans, and I don't plan to out myself towards them because honestly, it doesn't change their life or our friendship in any way. The only way like I would need to tell someone that I'm trans is like if I get sexually involved with them and stuff like that right now because I haven't had certain surgeries, but I'm in a committed long-term relationship, so that's not even a point of me coming out to trans as anyone right now anyways. The hardest part obviously is telling old stories, but like I said before, no matter what, use their chosen name and correct pronouns, no matter what they went by at that time of the story. It could create a confusing situation for everyone, especially if someone has fully transitioned, like I said, and it could out them and put them in a dangerous situation. When telling past stories, it is also important to use gender-neutral words and phrases, if possible, especially when you're talking about like certain scenarios like in the bathroom and stuff like that. Just say the bathroom. You don't have to say the woman's room or the men's room and stuff like that. I don't know why that would come up, but like, yeah, like certain things that are unfortunately gendered and stuff. Like for me, I did sports back in high school, and obviously when I did soccer and basketball, I was on the women's team just because that's what it was at that time. But fortunately for me, when people tell past stories and stuff like that, they just say like us playing soccer because it's not so confusing, because I also did I was playing in a league that was co-ed, meaning everyone could play, which I highly suggest any trans or non-binary individual look out for doing things like co-ed and stuff like that. It is very alleviating of dysphoria because like everyone's doing it. It's so much more fun, honestly. For me personally, I'm always gonna have my kids doing co-ed sports. Yes, if they want to do sports in school, obviously it's gonna be gendered and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know, like I just want my kids to do co-ed sports and everything like that, especially teaching my daughters that just because someone was born male, that doesn't mean that they're obviously going to be stronger than you. That's a complete myth, but I could talk about that all day, and that's not what this video is about. But anyways, definitely practice it. And for the trans individual, please be patient, but also for the person telling the story and stuff like that, and the person that's not trans, also be patient kind of with the trans individual, and don't get offended when a trans individual corrects you. They are not belittling you in any way or really yelling at you. I mean, yes, sometimes the tone can be a little aggressive if you keep on messing up and the person keeps on, like, they feel a little discouraged and like heartbroken, like that you're not trying, it may seem like, and stuff like that. But it does take a while to get used to, especially in my case. I came out to my family when I was like 20 years old, so like imagine 20 years of your life calling person this name and using those pronouns for that individual, and I just finally came out when I was 20, even though I kind of knew what I was when I was like 17. That's when I started like really researching, and like I was able to have like the terminology and stuff like that to really explore who I was. But yes, it does take a long time, so like, especially with my mom, yes, she would mess up. When referring to old stories involving me, she would say the girls, because for the longest time, she had 5 daughters. And yes, I do have 2 brothers that are younger than me, but like, when referring to that, she always used to say the girls, because it used to be us 5, with this one, with my biological father. But over time, she got used to it, and now she says Chandler and the girls, and stuff like that. So it does take time, and a lot of people don't know that it is offensive to say that. It's offensive because you're still like titling them with what they were born as, which is not correct of what they truly are. After all, our brain actually develops in utero before our sexual functions does and everything like that. So personally for me, since I'm a trans man, my brain developed male, but unfortunately the rest of the process, I was born in a female body, so I was AFAB. Just because of our society and of like what pronouns are assigned to what genital parts and stuff like that, I grew up as she, her, and with my dead name and stuff. Until I was able to have the terminology and the knowledge that I do have now, that's when I fully expressed like, that's not right, I'm he, him, my name is Chandler. And you know, it does take time, but it is really important just to practice and be aware of terminology and like certain phrases that actually does subtly out someone. Sometimes it's very subtle where it's like you don't really notice it, but it does unfortunately cause a lot of dysphoria to many trans individuals. So it is very important to truly try if you are a true ally and you care about that person's mental health and stuff like that, because dysphoria does take a toll on a lot of trans individuals and causes depression. But if it is relevant to the story, if you're talking about someone's past life, you could always just say pre-transition. If it is somewhat related to the story, you could always say this is before Chandler's transition, stuff like that. But if you're in a group of people talking and like that, and the group of people already knows that that person is trans and they already know the timeline of that person's transition, it's not really needed to say, because if you say an age and stuff like that, people can be like, oh yeah, no, I remember Chandler when he was like, you know, 15. Yeah, but no matter what, still use, you know, my name, Chandler, and he, him pronouns. It may be confusing and stuff like that, especially since that person didn't present as that way, but the thing is like that person has always been that person inside, they just didn't have the terminology to express it, or they didn't have the comfort and safety in order to be out at that time. Yeah, I hope this video helped and answered those questions a little bit. I know it's not really that hard to me because I am trans. Like, I didn't think of making a video like this because it seems pretty simple and basic to me, but a lot of people have been asking me those questions. That's why I made this video. I'm sorry if it seems like basic answers and really not that helpful, but I hope some people did learn a little bit from it. And yeah, please put down any more types of questions like that down below. I would like to make more videos for allies of trans individuals that are confused about certain terminology and like certain like things that's not okay and like that is okay, involving like someone that's trans in their life and stuff like that, if that makes sense. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. Look at the statistics. If you find yourself watching multiple of my videos, might as well subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell down below so you get notifications whenever I upload a video. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.